From Civilization 7's Antiquity Age right the way through to its third and final, the Modern Age, here's everything we know about the first 20 civs announced for Civ 7. Starting in Civ 7's first age, of course, it's the Antiquity Age, and we begin with Rome, perhaps one of the most talked about civilizations. Obviously, we can't look past its leader, Augustus, though leaders won't really be the focus of this video, obviously. Let's talk about Rome and what it does. It's a cultural, militaristic civilization, providing a flat boost to your culture on capitals and towns, and a special production boost if you want to build this, the Roman Colosseum. Their unique units, both military with the Legion returning, as well as their civilian unit, are really focused on combat, extra combat strength, and what is effectively a very unique Roman commander, gaining an extra charge to create a new settlement every 3 levels. Very powerful. Looking at their buildings, you can see a provision of both gold and happiness, as well as some adjacency bonuses around wonders specifically. Rome, perhaps a civilization that might like a wonder or two. Egypt is number 2 on our list, and it also likes a wonder, as you can probably imagine. Also one of the most canvassed civilizations and leader pairings so far discussed about Civ 7. Here we see a less militaristic Civ, but one that has many similarities to Rome. Plus 30% to production, but this time towards pyramids, not the Colosseum. And it's probably fair to say that Egypt's units are less aggressive and more defensive. The Medjay providing plus 3 combat strength in friendly territory, and you can double that when it's stationed inside of a settlement that you own. And their unique civilian unit is a great person with one hell of a great charge. Outside of that, you probably will have noticed that their buildings are somewhat similar to Rome's. Again, there's a focus around adjacency bonuses, though this time we also get some from desert terrain, for example, as well as navigable rivers, which will be hopefully somewhat of a feature for any Egyptian playthrough. That brings us to the end of number 2. Let's move very quickly through now to number 3. This time it's one of the Chinese civs in the game, Han. Han in Antiquity is a grower and a shower. The Great Wall, their unique infrastructure, as you might imagine. This one adds culture as well as happiness if it's built next to even more segments of the wall. And of course there'll be combat strength implications here too. Their unique ability is just a nice generic growth one. Your plan is Han, your capital and new towns gain an additional population the first time they grow. Their unique unit returns though, this bad boy can't attack twice in the same turn, unfortunately this time around. And their civilian unit is very interesting. It's a format we'll see again. There are more civs that have this. Basically produce one, it gets one effect, and the next time you build it, it'll have a different effect. Let's move through now to Aksum, the 4th entry on our list. Aksum is another one where we've seen some direct gameplay, some actual footage, these pop-ups that you're seeing on screen. They're a cultural economic civ with production towards their wonder, and this theme of course will continue many times again. Plus gold on resources and a seafaring feel here with a naval unit, which is obviously unlocked fairly early and quite coastal, as well as a unique trade unit that can't be pillaged and gets extra money for each resource acquired. Finally, their unique improvement also provides a little bit of cash money, as well as an adjacency bonus for wonders. Moving through now to Maurya, one of the Indian civilizations inside of Civ 7. Let's take a look at the Antiquity one, which, as well as having, again, I won't mention it anymore, a reoccurring bonus towards a specific construction. We also see an additional benefit here for the Pantheon after you unlock mysticism. This is a religious civ. Plus 5 combat strength against fortified districts from their unique cavalry, and their unique settler is capable of founding towns and adding happiness to city halls. More happiness will come from their unique improvements, as well as some other adjacency bonuses. An interesting scientific militaristic civ. Next on our list, it's Maya, which also makes a wonderful return to Civilization 7, but with a few twists. The Mayans this time around quite like, sometimes, vegetated tiles. Their unique military unit can see right through it, suffers no penalty. They also receive a little bit of production when they research technologies. What I really like though is this Jaguar, this time around setting an invisible trap on vegetated tiles, dealing damage to enemy units and instantly ending their movement. That's a cool tactical ability. More broadly, you'll see that theme of vegetation return yet again here with the military unit. Moving right along now to another frequent flyer in the Civilization franchise, it's Greece. The Greeks are back, and this time around, they very much still like city-states. Increased gold on the Parthenon unique building for each city-state you're a suzerain of, as well as that building providing a little bit of culture and influence if it's built somewhere rough. A little bit more detail on the Greeks, though we don't have a lot of gameplay on them. Their unique unit, their civilian one, has a similar ability structure to that of Han, China's civilian unit, and finally, you'll be pleased to know the hoplite is back. They love standing next to other hoplites. Moving right along, Khmer makes its debut as an Antiquity Age civ in Civilization 7. Urban districts on rivers do not remove the natural yield, the yield of the tile underneath, if you're playing as Khmer. This is their unique civilization ability. Khmer also bring a lot of food-focused abilities. Their infrastructure, the beret, increases food on all floodplains in the settlement, so long as it's built somewhere flat. You can only have one per settlement. They're also immune to flood damage with their civilian unit. Some foodie stuff, some floody stuff. I should also mention here, by the way, that for every civ that I've covered so far on the Civ 7 website, you can see their unique civics and civic trees. I've chosen not to delve into that level of detail because it's honestly a bit much and maybe less relevant, though it will matter when you're crafting a strategy and moving through the ages. And that's exactly what we're going to do now. Those are all of the Antiquity Civs. Now we take a look at some of the less announced. Perhaps there's less gameplay, less detail about them, but they are still at least somewhat relevant, somewhat covered so far by the team at Firaxis. Let's take a look at the Exploration Age, the age of sailing across the seas, and we begin with Shawnee. Shawnee is the only officially announced civ in this entire age on the Civ 7 website at the time of recording. Their settlements built adjacent to navigable rivers gain extra food on river tiles, but if you build a city not on a river, you'll get less food by default. Their unique infrastructure adds food and gold for adjacent resources. Their civilian unit is a missionary with extra movement, and their military unit again likes resources. Songhai is another very interesting one. We've seen actually a little bit about them already, even though they haven't been officially announced. They have extra trade route range, production towards their tomb, and they love to make money and gold. Very much an economy-focused civ for the Second Age. This also interests me. I'll return to it later. Let's continue talking about the civs for now. Mongolia is next up. Mongolia, obviously, fairly well known in the civ franchise, and it won't surprise you that it makes its return. The focus here is around horses, and that's about all we know. You'll need 3 of them if you want to play as Mongolia from Egypt anyway. Abbasid is up next, and here again the detail is somewhat light. Though if you're playing as this caliphate in the Second Age, you will be playing as a cultural and scientific civ, and I believe it unlocks if you've played through as Egypt. This is the one that they've shown on that thing that I've already shown you. You've probably seen it like 10 or 20 or 30 times by now anyway, with the different pathways that are available as you play as a civ and move through the ages. It seems that Abbasid is probably going to be the logical one, perhaps the slightly historical, or at least one of the options that makes the most sense for Egypt. However, they're not alone. We have more to discuss. Let's talk about the second, I believe, Indian civ inside of Civ 7. The Chola are a diplomatic and economic civilization, and as I say, the roots here are Indian. So you've either played as Maurya in the First Age, or maybe you're playing as the leader, Ashoka. Next up, we take a look now at Ming. Again, another Chinese civ. So the pathway here is fairly straightforward. We don't know their explicit focus yet, but we do know that they unlock when you're playing as Han, or when you're playing as the recently announced leader, Confucius, who brings all of these wonderful things. Here's a graphic that I stole from the Civilization 7 Twitter X page. Loads of good stuff here. You can pause and read it if you like. We're going to keep focused on the civs for now. And the civ of our specific focus, as you can see, Norman. The Norman civilization obviously making its appearance here in the Exploration Age and representing the Duchy of Normandy is a diplomatic and militaristic civ in Civ 7. Their land units receive extra movement when they're embarked, I believe, and also when they're adjacent to coastline, they'll get a little bit of extra combat strength. It makes sense to play through here from Greece or Rome, or if you're playing as Augustus or Napoleon as your leader. Next up, it's Spain. Spain is, again, one of those fairly light on the detail ones. Haven't had a lot revealed about them yet. Of course they're going to be in the game. I believe that the team, Firaxis, mentioned in one of their live streams or videos that we'll be able to play as Spain, definitely, if we've played as the leader Augustus. Now, how does this bleed through into other things? Well, probably, obviously, if you've played as Rome, then there's a potential pathway here too, I have to assume. Outside of that, we don't know a lot more. I'm trying to keep this factual, so let's stick to the facts and focus now on the modern age, which is, forewarning, very light on detail. First up, Buganda. Buganda is this image. And that's all I've got for you. Probably Abbasid or Songhai will be the unlock pathway in order to play as Buganda, though, in the final era. We know that. Next up, the French. The French have at least had a couple of leaders revealed. Well, Napoleon in 2 different outfits. They'll be in the modern age, of course, the first French Empire. We don't yet know an awful lot about them, though. You'll move through as the Normans. And next, penultimately, we have the Japanese. Obviously making their appearance, potentially across multiple ages, I don't know, but Himiko was revealed in the Nintendo Switch trailer, I think, for Civilization 7, so we know that she will very well be the leader to unlock them at least. And finally here, before a couple of very important details at the end, Mughal. This is the final Indian civilization in the modern age. So obviously, you'll be a Mughal Harry if you're playing through as Chola, or alternatively, if your leader is Ashoka. And that brings us to the end of the video, the 20 civilizations that have been announced. Though, as I say, there are very different levels of announcement. Technically speaking, if we take a look at the Civilization 7 website at the time of recording this video right now, only 9 of the civs that I've covered in this video have official pages with official information. I've drawn the rest of it from various live streams, developer posts, and of course the internet to try and pull stuff together. They have teased, shown, and mentioned some things, some leaders potentially, that I didn't cover in this video, most notably Benjamin Franklin. Of course, we'd expect the United States to make its appearance in Civilization 7 alongside a whole load of other really noteworthy cultures, nations, civilizations that might, almost certainly will, be added to this game. Let me know what you think might be announced next, and if you like this kind of stuff, I can make some more civs, and plenty of leaders to cover too. Thanks for watching, I'll see you next time. Oh, and PS, I'm not actually gone yet. This screen really confused me from earlier when we were looking at Songhai. The player was moving through to choose Songhai. As you can see, the options are Aksum, Egypt, and Amina above the Songhai button, and am I wrong in thinking that Amina is a leader and the other 2 are civs? Like, am I dumb? What am I missing? Please help me out here because this makes no sense to me. Now for real, I'll see you next time.